We're about to take a look at 7 tools that you should not buy from Harbor Freight. You should avoid these at all costs. It's actually blown my mind. If you know the channel, you know I'm not a typical Harbor Freight guy. I like my nice tools, plain and simple. That's how it is. Well, I went in to go check this out, and some of the prices of these tools are actually astonishing. They're like no better than the what you would consider top tier brands, and it's kind of disgusting, honestly. So we have our 7 and then 2 bonus options here because the price isn't even in the same ballpark, but it doesn't make sense to me to spend. You'll see. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Check us out on Instagram as well. There's a link in the description. Get connected with us. You guys, we want to hear from you. And let me know what you guys do like from Harbor Freight, if there's any necessities that you always pick up from Harbor Freight. And first and foremost are this set of screwdrivers, which is crazy that this set of screwdrivers is $20. But it's even more mind-blowing, you guys. A little background. I have almost every single brand of premium screwdriver that there is outside of Swiss PB. Outside of PB Swiss, I have everything, okay? And my favorite screwdrivers are these Wera here. And for just a few dollars more, you can actually get this set of Wera drivers, which is like top tier. Like every screwdriver that I own is now compared to this Wera driver, because of how great it is. It's extremely ergonomic. The tips on these, there's little lines on them that are for gripping the screws. Sounds gimmicky. They're fantastic. Like, these are my favorite set of screwdrivers, and you can get them for legitimately pennies more than this set from Harbor Freight, which doesn't make sense. And truthfully, this isn't just a Harbor Freight thing. This is an everywhere thing. Wera drivers are extremely affordable, and their performance is just, they're an outlier by far, especially when it comes to screw fit and ergonomics. I can't say enough about Wera drivers or Wera tools. If you haven't checked them out, and some of their stuff is incredibly affordable, like this set of screwdrivers here, which you can get for legitimately just a couple dollars less than what you can get a set of scrappy Harbor Freight screwdrivers for. Number 2, we're gonna set up with this tape measure. You guys, it's $2 more to get this Racketeer's phase tape measure, which if you're not an electrician, you don't need the phase tape portion, but it blows my mind. The Tough Built 25 footer, this is another good one. These are 2 of my favorite tape measures, and they're some of my favorites in the game right now, and they're on the less expensive side. Great standout here with the phase tape. Great standout for the Tough Built as well. You guys, they're also both magnetic. They both have great hooks. It doesn't make sense to me why you would go with a brand like Hercules when you could literally have the top premier tape measures for the exact same price. I'm missing the disconnect. Where's the value coming in at for these tools that are from Harbor Freight, that are from less known companies that are not as well manufactured and are supposed to be like the cheaper end of things? I can't comprehend where this like middle of the pack tool sets come in at, and they're charging $19 for a tape like that when these are that price and they're better made and they're better companies. And if you're like me, you like your tools to match, you like there to be some similarities, which we'll get into that later. But a lot of these brands don't have similarities. Like, you can't get all of the same sets of pliers from the same brand and everything match and just whatever. I know you guys don't care about that all that much, but number 3, we're gonna be talking about this knife here from Doyle. And I actually have this knife. I don't even know where it's at. It's a piece of garbage. We did testing on it, and I mean, wow, it tested so poorly. It was one of my least favorite knives, and it was the same price as both of these options. I think it might have even been more, like by a couple cents than the Milwaukee, and I think potentially the Tough Built as well. But these are both utility knives. One is from Tough Built. This is their pry bar utility knife, which I just like how heavy duty it is. It does have a pry bar on it, which doesn't get used very often, but I like that it's all metal construction, and it just feels good in my hand. And then obviously you guys know the Milwaukee Fastbacks. These are of course a super great and reliable knife, but for the same price as the Doyle, which is all aluminum, and I thought maybe I'll love it, and it doesn't work out well. It's super clunky, it's super loud, it makes like the most obnoxious noise when you open it. I'll leave a link to that video at the end that shows all the tests for the utility knives, but it didn't end up scoring very well, while the Milwaukee and the Tough Built did. And on the more expensive side, the Fiskars, when I say expensive, I mean it was probably like $14 or $15, but it's by far my favorite utility knife. I own so many of these, and Project Farms also did a test on them. This knife won as well. I did my own testing on them. This one won. I prefer to use this. Not only does it win in tests, but when it comes to like what I actually use every day, it's the Fiskars all day, every day. Great utility knife. And very similar is going to be this Hawkbill knife here. It doesn't, like, again, where's the price difference coming in at? That's the issue with these companies that are built on prices being the best thing, is now, you know, with a tool like this. I love my Hawkbill knife from Tough Built, and also the one from Milwaukee, which I believe they're both sitting at around $15, as is the Doyle. Now tell me why that's the case. I don't know, but it doesn't make sense for you to, again, go with something like a Doyle when you could have an actual Milwaukee for the same price, or Tough Built for the same price as well, which most of their stuff looks like a knockoff Milwaukee anyway, but it's the older version. It's a lot clunkier. It has a much bigger belt clip as well than the Milwaukee. The functionality and the opening, it doesn't make sense to go with anything but the brands that are known for quality, have been producing quality, come out with new revisions of these knives every time. That this isn't the same knife that's been produced for the last 5 years. There's upgrades, there's newer versions. They change out all the different stuff. They're innovative. That's the whole point. And so in a couple years, they'll have a new Hawkbill knife out, and it'll be better than this one. And I'll probably get it just because I want it. I don't have the Doyle Hawkbill knife, but if you've seen the video with the utility knives, you know my experience with that Doyle utility knife was pretty bad. Like, it wasn't a good experience at all. So it doesn't make sense for the same money to get the brand that's not known for being innovative. And this one is going to be a little bit of both. This is double the price, but it's also like double the functionality. I love this little stubby driver here from Klein, and $5 is double the price, but it's also only $5 more when you look at it that way. But it comes apart, and it does come with 2 sizes of flatheads, 2 sizes of Phillips, and 2 sizes of nut drivers. So 6 tools in total versus the 2 that you get having to carry 2 tools instead of 1. This is like an everyday necessity for me. It does everything I could ever need it to do. It's a great stubby, and it's super inexpensive at $10. Why not spend the extra $5 and have 6 tools total when you need them? All right, now we're starting to get away a little bit from the prices just being astronomically better. This next one is going to be a level. Now, for this level, I really can't stand the Harbor Freight level. The way it looks, the way it feels, any of it. We will get it, we will test it, and we'll see what it's all about. But especially for the price difference, what you can get, this 6-inch Klein level has lasted me for so long. The bubbles are very visible. The magnets are incredibly strong. Like, the magnets on this are ridiculously strong. It's held up. It's been good for me for years now. You know, no complaints. Obviously, it's just a level. There's something that just kills me about this level. I don't know if it's just the way that it looks, but nobody should ever use this. Like, I've never seen this level in the wild, and I hope that I never have to. I hate it so much. Why is this an option? Now, back on track, the beater drivers. These beater drivers here, while the price is really solid, actually, especially for the category, I would prefer way more functionality. This driver here from Wera is a chisel driver. It does have a striking cap on the back. It's got a hex shank for you to put more torque on there. This is a 10 millimeter. This thing is an absolute beast. All right. I've put this thing through so much. I've had no issues. As you guys can see, it's obviously chipping away at the end here. The yellow's been the hardest to keep clean out of all the Wera drivers, but it cleans off really nicely, really well. This thing is an absolute unit, and it is double the price of those 2 screwdrivers. Again, I think the functionality just lands more towards this than it does towards those. I also don't ever use a number 2 beater, so I get why you would need to. I just don't have to very often. So why wouldn't I just put all of my money that I was going to spend on that stuff into this? Because this thing here, I'm telling you, this has lasted me for years. It's been super solid. I can pry, I can beat. It's actually called the chisel driver. Like, the actual intentions for this tool are for you to chisel. Unlike most of your other quote-unquote beaters that have mark not to strike on them, all the other stuff, it doesn't make sense. This next one, it's the most blatant ripoff ever. I don't know all the details behind it, but these Icon 10-inch the pliers wrench from Knipex. I don't know. I can't say because I'm not an expert, I guess, necessarily in the Harbor Freight stuff, but it doesn't make sense to spend this much money on a set of pliers that are from Harbor Freight. I get that Icon is like a really well-known brand, but they don't have all of the other sizes as far as I know. So like you can't even, if you want to have the 7.25, 7.5 inch pair, which are phenomenal, by the way. I don't even use the 10 inch pair ever, but you can actually have the real brand and have like sizes that match one another. So like if you have a 10 or a 12 inch pair, they're like the same brand. Also, you're spending $40 on a set of pliers at Harbor Freight. Why not spend the $50 to get the actual set? I know. I understand that Icon is well known. There's just something about spending $40 on one single set of pliers from Harbor Freight that just doesn't line up with me at all. Like if there's something deeply, deeply wrong inside of me when I hear that, it just doesn't click. Why spend $40 on a set of pliers from Harbor Freight? And last but not least, the price is not even comparable here, but please don't buy insulated screwdrivers from Harbor Freight. Again, this set that you can get at the beginning that I mentioned, the Weir drivers, I use their insulated drivers every single day in and day out, live work, whatever it is, dead, all of the above, because they're like $35 for a set, which I just use them as regular screwdrivers. And I have an insulated set that I keep pristine, and I make sure that if I'm using it on live work that it's completely safe and it's not just beat up and tore up like my daily drivers. That being said, why not have the extra insulation, the extra protection, all the other stuff, spend the $35 on a set of screwdrivers and have everything you need, even insulated screwdrivers, which, by the way, again, the most ergonomic, the most comfortable, and they fit screws better than any other screwdriver that I've ever used. They have the most ridiculous hold on screwdrivers. Weir is insanely innovative, and they really put a lot of work into their stuff, and it shows. I don't understand how their screwdrivers are so affordable, even their beaters. Now, I did just do a video about 15 tools from Lowe's that I absolutely love, so you guys go check that out. Remember, it's all for its glory, and I'll see you guys on the next one.